The Canon EOS R5 gets a major overhaul via firmware. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much once again joining me for tea time. Today we're coming to the end of a little bit of misty morning and focus combination. It's so good. I hope you're joining me with your cup of tea, maybe a cup of coffee, hanging out, talking tech, talking photo, talking video. Today is going to be a photo video day. We're going to be talking about Canon and their EOS R5 and a major overhaul that's going to be happening with it. And that overhaul is not going to be the EOS R5 Mark II. It is actually going to be a massive change or improvement to the firmware that you'll be able to download very soon, and I'll tell you about that in just a minute. Before I get into all this, I want to say that if you haven't downloaded any of my ebooks as of yet, go check them out. They are 100% free for you just being here. Also, if you enjoy this video, even in the least, consider throwing it a thumbs up. That would be very, very helpful. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel as of yet, consider doing so. And if you have, click this little button over here so when I go live or when a new video comes out, you'll be notified of it immediately. And if you just want to say thank you for all of my hard work, YouTube gave us a little thank you button down here. Thank you, YouTube. Click that, or even if you don't, that's okay. Consider becoming a member of the channel. That would be even better. So guys, let's jump right into this. I was reading an article over at Canon Rumors, and they were talking about this EOS R5 improvement, this firmware improvement. And I was reading through it and I was like, wow, this makes sense. And it's kind of contrary to the video that I just did about the R5 Mark II coming out, because now it's not coming out. And I'm going to tell you why here. So I'm going to read through this article a little bit, and then I'm going to give you my perspective on it and do some commentary over it. And then I want to get your thoughts, because your thoughts are more important than my thoughts. I'm just a talking head here, right? So let's jump right into it. We reported in late November that we could see the EOS R5 Mark II in 2023, but that timeline has been debunked for the most part. We expect to see the next R5 next year alongside the EOS R1, most likely in the first half of 2024. I think they're probably right here. I'll tell you why before the end of this video. We think this timeline makes far more sense. I do too, and I'll tell you why once again in just a minute. To keep the EOS R5 viable through 2023 in the features department, Canon will release a major new feature firmware update sometime this year. I think sooner than later. We wouldn't be surprised to see the new firmware update announced for NAB 2023 in April. Probably right there. Probably right. While we do not have the new firmware notes, we did get some information as to what to expect. As you'll notice, these features are available in the Canon EOS R6 Mark II. Keep that in mind. Canon EOS R6 Mark II. This is very, very important. It has been a testing ground. I told you guys about this way back when the EOS R6 Mark II came out. I said, damn, this thing has so many features that the rest of the R lineup doesn't. What's going on? That's what's going on. It's a test ground. All right, we're going to get into it right now. So the first item that's being addressed is lens breathing correction. Now, if you don't know what lens breathing is, it's basically the slight change of angle or magnification that occurs when you're adjusting your focus, right? So when your AF is coming in and out, you'll see things like kind of pulsate a little bit. Well, this happens with a lot of the cheaper lenses. In comparison, if you purchase a cinema lens that's tens of thousands of dollars, it's going to do this a lot less. But for the most part, when you're focusing in and out, it happens. And this breathing occurs. And what they're doing is they're putting into place this lens breathing correction. So through software, in comparison to you having to spend tens of thousands of dollars, you can spend very little on a cheaper lens. And then through software, it corrects it. Now, this is already in place where? Yes, the Canon EOS R6 Mark II, they're moving it over. The next thing is the pre-shooting buffer. Now, I like this a lot. Now, if you don't know, a pre-shooting buffer is basically that buffer of images that are taken prior to you completing the full shutter press. Okay, for you to actually take that picture, just before you take the picture, the camera is capturing images, 10 images, 15 images, 50 images, whatever that buffer is set to. They're going to improve this buffer, maybe by more images or maybe just improving on how it works, its functionality. But there will be that improvement. Now, companies like Panasonic have had this forever. That's one of the things I always heard from the folks over there at Panasonic when I used to interview them, that we have this thing that professionals absolutely love, and it's this pre-shoot buffer so that before you actually take the picture, it's already taking pictures. So if you miss the shot, you can go back in time and get that shot. It is good. It is valuable to a lot of fast action shooters. Maybe you're doing sports, or maybe you're doing automotive and things are racing by and you're like, did I get it? And you're like, I missed it. You can go back in time and there it is. Or maybe even a wedding or something like that where you think that you got it and you're like, I'm not sure if I got it. You go back, you didn't get it. Just go back in time a little bit and pull that image. So an improved pre-shooting buffer, I think, is awesome. And once again, if you have the EOS R6 Mark II, you have it already. Now, the one major thing here that they should have fixed years ago, that most manufacturers already fixed, is that 30-minute record limit. That has been the bane of DSLRs as well as mirrorless cameras that shoot photo and video. The video limit of only 30 minutes of record time has just been, it's just horrible. As a matter of fact, that's one of the reasons why I started shooting with the Sony ZV-1 in comparison to my Canon cameras, because it didn't have that limit. I could just turn it on and just talk, and I don't have to worry about, oh my God, let me hit stop and then hit record again. It's ridiculous. Okay, absolutely ridiculous. And finally, Canon is now putting it into the R5, just like they had in the EOS R6 Mark II. Thank God. So that's really good. The other thing that they're improving on is their AF tracking. Now, AF tracking is something that a lot of shooters want, especially if you're like a wildlife type of person, or you're shooting things that are more fast action, like bike races or motorcycle races. That tracking is very important. And now that a lot of these cameras have stronger and stronger, or even multiple CPUs in them, processing units in them, we're seeing more of this deep learning subject tracking or subject recognition and computational photography all rolled up in one, where the camera knows what it's looking at. It's like, oh yeah, that's a dog. Let's go ahead and track that. Or, oh yeah, that's a cat. Let's track that. The cameras know what they're seeing now compared to years ago where it was just a blob or just a bunch of colors. So this is really big. Now, what they're doing is they're advancing this. They're making it better when it comes to bikes and trains and planes and UFO tracking, because God knows we need UFO tracking today, right? So they're advancing this, and they're also going to be adding more of the eye tracking when it comes to animals. Now, if you guys didn't know it, a lot of the animals have this reflective layer in their eyes. And to me, I think it's a lot easier for a camera to track an animal that has this reflective layer in comparison to a human eye. With a human eye, the eyes are all different shapes. Sometimes we'll put sunglasses over them. Sometimes we'll hide them with a hat. Sometimes we'll have different size glasses, so now the eyes are not recognizable. There's a lot that goes into it. Whereas with an animal, some of those animals, like for example, a deer or a dog or a cat or a possum or a raccoon or a cow or a horse or any of these animals, they're going to have that reflective property. That's easy to track, very easy. So I'm certain that they're going to be putting more of that into this camera, just like they did with the Canon EOS R6 Mark II. So that's fantastic. Now, they finalize this whole thing with this. They say, we are also told to expect a couple of new features. What? New features? Now, this is not Fujifilm. What the hell? Canon's putting new features in? When Fujifilm puts new features in via a firmware update, it's free. Canon's going to do the same. Anyways, it says new features for the EOS R5, which are above and beyond anything currently in the EOS R lineup. What the hell is that going to be? Above and beyond what is currently in any of the Canon EOS R lineup. That includes the Canon EOS R6 Mark II that they've taken a lot of these bullet points from. So that's interesting. So what does that mean to me? I think what that means is they're going to be using the Canon EOS R5 and probably the R5C, because it's rumored that the RC is going to get all of these updates too. If you don't know, the R5C is basically the cinema version of the R5. So I call it a bridge camera to move people from the R5 into the C series, which is their cinema lineup. So it has active cooling, an exhaust, and an inlet and a fan blowing on the sensor so it doesn't heat up. So most likely the R5 will get it also. But seeing that this is going to happen is kind of exciting, because now the R5 to me is going to be used as a test bed, just like the R6 Mark II was. And if that's the case, what is this test bed for? The R1, of course, right? Think about it. So what they're saying is they're looking at possibly a 2024 release of the EOS R5 Mark II. And that's probably right, because it'll probably come out right around the same time as the R1. Now, I speculated the R1 will be coming out right around the Summer Olympics. Why? It's a perfect time to release a flagship camera. You put this flagship beast into the hands of people that are covering an Olympic Games, you get a ton of publicity. So that will probably happen with the EOS R5 Mark II also. That will be at the beginning of 2024 during the, I believe it's Tokyo, Japan 2024 Summer Olympics. If I'm wrong, let me know in the comments, but I believe that's what it is, Tokyo, Japan. Anyways, that is most likely when we're going to see not only the EOS R1, which would be their flagship, and their EOS R5 Mark II, with all of the new features that have already been tested by the people that already have the R5 and the R5C most likely. So once again, it makes sense. It's a way for Canon to use its current customer base, the EOS R5 customers, as a test group for these new features before they get placed into the EOS R1. That's what I think is going to happen here. What do you think? Are you currently a user of the Canon EOS R5? Are you excited about these features coming? Or maybe are you a user of the EOS R6 Mark II that have already been using all of these features? What do you think about them? Down in the comment area below this video, let's have this discussion. As I always say, it's not about me, some talking head. It's about us. It's about the community. So let's have this discussion. I want to hear from you. What do you think about the Canon EOS R5, the Canon EOS R5 Mark II, the EOS R6 Mark II, as well as the EOS R1 that I'm very excited about, so that I can exchange some of my 1Ds with the R1. Very exciting times coming in 2024. Anyways, I hope you have enjoyed this video. If you have, throw it a thumbs up. That would be awesome. And finally, head over to my website, JCristina.com, where you can find all the photography tools that I've invented for you and me over the years. And hopefully there's something there that you might like. And if there is, please pick it up and support me and my family. That's it, guys. I'm out of here for the end of the vlog. Many blessings to you and your family. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you in the next one. Happy shooting. Love you guys.